Hello, welcome back to this channel. Hello from Zane as well, again. Today is the highly awaited Film Fridays for A Quiet Place 2. We're gonna go over the good, the weird, and not really bad, or more just okay. If you haven't seen my video of A Quiet Place from a few years ago, I will have that linked up here in a card as well as down below in the description box. A link and card to the Film Fridays playlist so you can check out other films and TV shows that I've talked about will be listed as well. Let me get the very first thought out of the way, and that's the fact that I thought that A Quiet Place 2 was just a little bit superior to the first one. I think in the video that I did about the first Quiet Place, I talked about how for the sequel, I wanted there to be a backstory, because that's what the first movie was missing. And we do get the backstory in this. The backstory is a little bit weird, a little bit awkward, and I feel a little bit too short. Firstly, because the backstory is supposed to be like a little prequel, but everybody would be younger. Millicent and the older of the two boys, they look to be around the same age anyways because they're old enough to pretty much look the same. But the little toddler, you remember the little toddler that dies in the very beginning of the first movie? Well, he aged 2 years. So instead of looking younger or being younger in the prequel part of the film, he is older and looks to be about the same age as the rest of them. Hi, editing me from the future. So I just found out while editing that the original Bo Abbott is played by Cade Woodward, and then for A Quiet Place 2, his little brother Dean Woodward plays Bo for the little backstory prequel bit. So they do get somebody younger, it's just not the guy, it's just not the kid from before. So it is a little bit weird, not much you can do about it if you want the same actors to be a part of it. There was a theory that I had for most of the movie that they actually had another child that was around the same age as everybody, and then he died in that day. He got eaten, he got killed, and they just didn't want to mention it in the first movie. And then they would bring that up when Emmett is talking about his kids. Well, when it comes to the toddler, I don't know, he's at a babysitter somewhere during a baseball game, and they eventually found him. I don't know, but no. Once Emmett talks about the fact that his kids were eaten, there's no mention about that child of the Abbotts. Oh, that's when you realize, okay, that's definitely supposed to be the same kid. It's not the end of the world, it's not the biggest issue ever, just because it is so short. He really doesn't have many lines from what I remember, and it ends so abruptly anyways that it just doesn't really matter. But if you're really paying attention, it gets a little bit confusing. But I still felt like that backstory wasn't enough. There wasn't enough backstory in the backstory. Like, instead of going from backstory to back to present day, I would have liked to see a little bit of something in the middle. You know, right after that day, then how are a bunch of other people like trying to figure things out, get situated, rather than go ahead and fast forward back to over a year later. It was just missing something, just a little bit more. But there is a third film coming out March 2023, and it's not supposed to feature the same characters as the first two films. So they're gonna probably go over a whole Hearing family. So maybe we'll get something in that third film. Also, if you want a video on what I would like to see from the third film, let me know and I'll get something up. Let's talk about ASL versus English in the movie. In the first Quiet Place, very, very little was spoken in the film. It's about the same, really, for the second one. The main issue is, there's a couple of issues. One, I talked about this before, the signing is not always in frame. You don't need to be doing close-ups of everybody's hands, which wouldn't make sense anyway if you did, because the face is part of the language after all. But a lot of the times, it's just the hands are cut out, the signing is cut out, and it's like, and never do that. I know some directors probably think of it as less aesthetically pleasing or whatever. I don't know the reason behind it, or they're just not really thinking about it anyways. But if you're gonna have people signing, put it in the frame. And then this part is outside of the movie, but John. Why is it when you're uploading clips or videos, interviews, whatever on social media, even the trailer that was uploaded to your social media, you don't caption it? You have a deaf person in this film playing a deaf role. Yay! But you need to caption all the content that you put out because all your content isn't accessible to the person it's supposed to be accessible to. They're a part of your film. They worked with you. Why are you leaving your cast member out? Also, there's the issue of the ASL and the films are only captioned, only open captioned in the theaters, and then the spoken parts are not. And so us, the deaf audience, is having to deal with the captive view or the reading glasses depending on what's available at the cinema. What is the point of not captioning the spoken English? You're already captioning most of the film anyways because most of it's in ASL. You couldn't take the extra couple of minutes to open caption the other stuff too. Okay, it takes a little bit longer than a couple of minutes, but you've already done it for most of the film anyways. Why is it not available? Why is it only important to be accessible to the hearing audience when there's deaf content rolled out, but when the hearing part is not accessible? What is the English I am going for here? It just doesn't make sense to not also caption the spoken part. What is your deaf audience supposed to be doing? So a lot of people actually ended up showing up for the first film and then this film without the captive view because they're like, okay, well, we don't need it because everything is so open captioned with the ASL, but then they're like, wait, what the hell is going on here? Because the spoken English part isn't captioned. But now let's talk about why I feel like A Quiet Place 2 is superior to the first one. And this is deaf bias here, but the hero of the entire film is deaf. Nobody else mattered. Nobody else was doing anything. Okay, Emmett helped. Emmett, the hearing man, helped. But Regan won. Regan won. Most of Hollywood is so, those poor deaf people, we have to fix them. They're gonna have bad things done to them, And the very few Hollywood mainstream run deaf plot things that we have, like Hush, acted out by hearing folks, not deaf actors themselves. So, to have a deaf character played by an actual deaf actor win the whole entire movie and save the world, at least that day, for at least a little while, is absolutely amazing. I felt so happy watching this movie because of that. And all the deaf teenagers that are gonna be watching this are gonna have somebody to look up to when they see that film. And when they see the ending, where she saves the whole day, where she saves at least that little area that has access to the radio that they went to, or has access to the radio station, whatever. I actually really like seeing Regan, deaf teenage girl, and Emmett, a hearing man who has no ASL knowledge whatsoever except for the sign for die, which worked out so well, which was very important in this movie, actually. You wouldn't think that it is generally, but here it was. I actually really liked seeing them work together. This whole thing just goes to show that deaf people know what they're talking about. We know how to make things accessible for the both of us and how to make things go smoothly. So like every time when I'm out and I'm trying to have accessible conversation with a hearing person and they just want to make it 10 times harder, but I'm the one being like, no, do it this way and we will be just fine. This was perfect. You know, Emmett's getting frustrated and all of that because he's like, well, great, this girl's deaf, she can't hear me, and I don't know what he's signing us, but it just worked out so well. Emmett does do what hearing people tend to do, and that's like either not enunciate properly, and I don't mean over enunciate and talk like this, which doesn't work at all. Okay, it doesn't, please don't do that. But when he looks like he's mumbling or not really thinking about it, and she says, hey, you need to enunciate properly. Talk normally, but also enunciate well enough so that I can understand you. And then sometimes, he's, moving his face or he's looking down instead of looking at her, and she's like, hello, look at me. When she actually grabs his face and then moves it, I laughed. I laughed in the theater. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole film. In the beginning of the movie, he learns to sign for die because I can't really remember why he's asking about it. I think it had something to do with the baseball game, but I can't really remember. It's been a minute since I've seen the film. That came in handy when, over a year later, he actually remembers it and they're being kidnapped by these, what's the word I'm looking for? Is vigilantes the word that I'm looking for? I don't know, it's just like the outcasted people of the survivors, the outcasted survivors, and they're kidnapping Regan and Emmett. They're about to kill Emmett, and I had a feeling they were going to use Regan for something. I want to compare A Quiet Place with The Silence again. I want to compare A Quiet Place 2 with the silence. I think that would make for an interesting video because that whole bit right there where they're getting kidnapped reminds me of something in the silence, and I think it would be interesting to talk about. But that one sign became so useful, and he was able to kill them, or the monsters were able to kill them, the bad guys, and then they were on their way. It was nice to see Regan prove Emmett wrong, because you just know that Emmett's like, great, I'm stuck with this deaf teenage girl, she's probably gonna get us killed, and she's not gonna be able to do what she wanted to do, because he was very hesitant at first. You know, he's like, no, we gotta go back, your mom wants you back, and you know, in the back of his mind, he not really saying it out loud, but he's just like, and you're gonna get us killed because you're deaf, not hearing, and that can't be a good thing. But Regan kicked ass and nobody believed in her. That's what frustrates me so much. Nobody believed in her. I did. So the rest of you suck. Now let's go over a little bit of the weird of the film, I guess, or the of the film. So with this movie, you have your main plot, and then you have like the little subplot. Regan and Emmett are more of the main plot, obviously trying to save the community, save the world from all these monsters. And then you have the subplot that is with the mom, the brother, and the baby. The mom, Evelyn, is off to go get medicine because Marcus injured his leg stepping into the bear trap. And during that time, Marcus is stuck in this thing, I don't know what it's called, with the baby. And they're supposed to not shut it all the way completely. You need to have this towel where the closure is, so that way they can easily take it out, because when you're in there for too long, you're not going to be able to breathe, and then you're gonna die. And that becomes like this whole like, oh my god, stressful moment for a good portion at the end of the movie. And while it stressed me out to see it, and I was so happy that, you know, everybody survives, everybody's okay, I feel like I honestly could have done without it. It's just now that I think about it, 2 weeks after seeing it, I'm not thinking about it. I haven't thought about it once. All I thought about is Regan and Emmett, Regan and Emmett, and that whole little journey. The rest of it was kind of like, okay, cool, not cool, but cool. Did I mention yet that cochlear implants don't make feedback noises? We're gonna talk about it again anyways, because I know I didn't talk about it in detail. Quite a few cochlear implant users were talking about this on Twitter, not only for this film, but the first film. Cochlear implants do not make feedback noises like you see in the film. Actually, I'm pretty sure people were talking about it in the comments in my first video about the first film. I feel like these people are thinking of hearing aids, but because Millicent herself wears a cochlear implant, they just kind of went with it? Or did they maybe just not actually know about it? I don't know. Yeah, but you see in the Wikipedia page about the movies that the term that's being used is hearing aid, hearing aid, hearing aid. Even YouTubers who have made videos say hearing aid, hearing aid, hearing aid when really it's a cochlear implant. I don't know, I don't expect all hearing people to know about this, but yeah, that's just, you know, if this were to happen in real life, just don't expect a cochlear implant to be actually doing that. And then the last final thought that I have is I feel like there's something missing in the film. One, I feel like it ended too abruptly. Like, I mean, well, firstly, I was so into the film that I didn't realize that, oh no, that's probably it. I was so into the film, the ending happens, Regan, you know, is woohooing, and it ends. That's it. There's no reaction from other civilians about it. There's no seeing, you know, monsters. Well, I recall you see a little bit of reaction from Marcus and I think Evelyn as well, because obviously Marcus and them were like, oh my god, this isn't actually gonna happen. So they hear the radio and they're like, oh my god, Regan actually did it. But I don't recall seeing any like reactions from other civilians, and maybe just taking just another 60 seconds, honestly, of the other part of the outside world just reacting to that sort of thing and seeing the monsters be stopped, and you know, it just a little more of a fade out thing. But then again, it's A Quiet Place, and to me, the abrupt sudden ending also sort of fits. Now my mind's going back and forth on what I would prefer and what I like or don't like. Or it's not that I don't like it, it just doesn't feel right to me. It just feels incomplete. And I wasn't the only one that thought this though. I can't remember if I read it in a comment on YouTube or did I read it from a tweet from Kenny JD? I don't even know. I cannot remember. But somebody else had the same feeling. It doesn't feel complete. It feels like it was rushed or something. They cut out something that would have been important to the film, that would have helped gradually get to this point, and it just doesn't feel right. It just needed maybe 15 more minutes somewhere right before that ending, and maybe a little minute after that, and it would have meshed better. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed A Quiet Place 2, even more so than the first one, mostly because of the deaf representation, of the kick-ass deaf representation. Story-wise and the way things flow, I do think A Quiet Place, the first one, is superior, but there's something about, or maybe it's just the feeling of, I don't know, there's still just something about A Quiet Place 2 that wins me over. It's hard to explain. But enough about me. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. Let's talk. If you like videos like these, again, check out the playlist, have a link down below. Watch the rest of the videos in a playlist, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you will see future Film Fridays episodes on another Quiet Place and any other movie or TV show that seems interesting to me, honestly. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I will see you later. Bye!